Coming in, boo-boo. Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. Okay, so I didn't get a sound check tonight. I did my own sound check. I never know if that's going to be for sure working correctly or not. So if you can tell me if the audio sounds okay, that would be very nice of you. So I have a few videos for you tonight. I posted a video over the weekend called COVID-19 and the Shame Game. And I have that on the list tonight. I'm not sure that I will... I'm not sure that I will play that one because it seems to me that some people saw it over the weekend. I thought it was a really good video, and I probably will play it again because I don't think enough people saw it. So I may play it very soon. Okay, sound check. Hello, 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 sound check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Are you getting my sound? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? The reason I'm asking is because there's a pop-up on my OBS that says audio stream current bitrate is lower than recommended. It says 0. Let's see. Israel has the right to defend itself. That's hilarious. Against what? People throwing rocks? Is that what Israel has the right to defend itself with? With fucking 1,000-pound bombs? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck Israel. Now, where were we? Fucking sound check. Can you hear me? Can anyone out there hear me? Because I don't know right now. I don't know. I don't know. The telephone number is right there on the screen. It is a call-in show. So if you want to call me and say, hey, the sound isn't working, you can do that too. I'm right here. I'm easily accessible. I'm easily accessible. I'm an easygoing guy. All I want is to enjoy what there is to enjoy here in this moment. Really, that's all I want. I know that's probably not what most people are looking for. But I like being in this moment. And the only real time that you can enjoy anything is in this moment. So, and that's what I like about ice cream so much, is that it brings you right into the moment. You're like, oh my God, it's so good. What's your favorite Ben & Jerry's ice cream? I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Oh, brownies. You know what? I just pulled a batch of brownies out of the oven, and I haven't had a brownie all day. So you are correct. I need a brownie. There is no doubt about that. But they just came out of the oven like 2 minutes before I went live on the air. So they're a little bit on the warm side at the moment. We'll get to that when we do. But a bong hit sounds very good, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound nice, a bong hit? I have some pretty good videos. I don't know if you saw the exchange between Anthony Fauci and Rand Paul today, but I have a pretty good video of that, and it's weird because I captured this one video, and then after I kept looking to see if there was a better video, because the one I captured was like at 10 a.m. in the morning, right? So I kept looking all day, all afternoon. Is there a better Rand Paul Fauci video? And I couldn't find one. I'm actually recording the entire hearing right now because I want to see if I can get the whole thing complete, the whole exchange in its complete form. That being said, I have a lovely clip of it, and I think you might find it very illuminating. Where were we? Let's see. Is the phone working? Phone's working. Phone's working. Okay, the phone is working, people. Like I said, I haven't had a brownie today. I don't, I feel pretty good, which is weird because, I have all kinds of aches and pains. It's a big part of why I take the brownies, but I feel pretty good, other than not getting much sleep last night. What was that? Where did that come from? Weird. Oh, that was on. Oh, the fucking volume's up on this computer. We can't have the fucking volume up. Ah, that's much better now. You're such a weirdo. Do it now. Do what now? Bong hit. Ooh, bong hit does sound pretty good. I am almost ready for a bong hit. Stop telling me what to do. I am actually not almost ready for a bong hit. I am definitely ready for a bong hit. So what should we play first while I heat up my bong? You want to hear the exchange? Oh, okay. No. Hold on. Let me see. It's not time for a video just yet. But I can play one. There was a video today about or there's this new vilification of Russia, right? I'm going to heat up the bong here momentarily. There's this new vilification of Russia and of veterans, and I can't stand either one. I cannot stand, the big black looming fucking, the looming threat from Russia. Oh, fuck you. Who buys into this bullshit? Oh, Russia is messing with our elections. Fuck you. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, they're fucking with our elections. Oh, Russia's a national security threat because they're fucking with our elections. Fuck you, okay? Facebook, Twitter, Google, they fucked with our elections. How does that not make them a national security threat? Okay? Facebook, Google, Twitter are national security threats. Don't forget it. Okay? Those entities are evil. They are doing evil against our country, against U.S. citizens, fucking with U.S. elections. Fuck Facebook, fuck Twitter, fuck Google. Okay? And I couldn't mean that more fucking sincerely. You fucking piece of shit censors. Okay? Because you work for evil, you piece of shit censors. Oh, by the way, I have a video here about senior White House officials are now saying that the lab leak theory, the COVID-19 Wuhan lab leak theory, is equally as realistic, as likely as it occurring in nature. And the facts kind of point to the truth being I must have the COVID. The facts being the facts being, how many people laugh about getting the COVID? Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I on?
Why?
Live or?
Do you want to be on live?
Well, let's talk about the Ben and Jerry if we have to.
We don't have to do anything.
Well, can I talk about the Ben and Jerry?
You can do whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Okay, well, what is it about? Like, are they like stopping production in Israel, or what's up with, like, what's going on, man?
They're no longer selling Ben & Jerry's ice cream in Israeli-occupied Palestine.
Or do you mean Palestine occupied area? It's Palestine land.
Right. Israeli-occupied Palestine.
No, but it belongs to the Israelis, does it not?
No, it does not belong to the Israelis. The Israelis every single fucking day steal land from the Palestinians. And Ben & Jerry should stop selling ice cream in Israel altogether because those people do not deserve ice cream. If you're good, we'll get you ice cream on the way home. The fucking Israelis are not good and do not deserve to stop and get ice cream on the way home. Do you hear what I'm fucking saying?
Well, let me tell you something, actually.
Yeah, you tell me something.
Those Palestinian people, they should be eating not ice cream, but hummus, because they have a terrorist organization called Hamas.
Mm-hmm. I love hummus. Do you not like hummus?
No, because it's not American and it's not Israeli.
Yeah, neither is Thai food. I love Thai food too.
But
and a lot of Israelis eat hummus, so you know.
Yeah. But that's not true.
Of course it is. You obviously have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
That's right. No, you do not.
So, no, I'm disagreeing with the whole concept of what is being said.
Yeah, I get that. And you're wrong.
So you're going to deny the whole establishment of Israel because you think Fantasyland Palestine is real?
Fuck Israel. Fuck Israel.
Well,
okay, Israel does not deserve ice cream. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing.
Yeah, you tell me. You go ahead. You tell me.
Well, you seem like a whining hobo at the moment.
Uh-huh.
You're a whining hobo. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Seems like you're not getting enough calcium from the Ben & Jerry's to functionally.
Are you picked on a regular basis? Do people tell you what you are on a regular basis? I mean, is that why you lash out at other people?
Oh, is that why you lash out at Israel?
Fuck Israel. No, I lash out at Israel because they're dropping bombs on children. How fucking stupid are you? Try and keep up, okay?
Children, or AKA little terrorists? The little terrorist that's soon to be.
Yeah. All right. Nice to hear from you. At least I got to make my point. All right. I'm going to play the Russia hypersonic missiles that we have to be terrified of now. Okay. And you need to understand, everything, everywhere, every direction I look is terror, 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 fear, 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 fear of the plague, fear of terrorists, fear of murder hornets, fear of the floods, fear of the fucking climate, fear of this, fear of that, fear of the protesters. I'll have a really good video about the DC protesters. I'll get to that in a minute. But as I said again and again and again throughout this entire live broadcasting, okay, since I started doing live broadcast, I have said from day one, do not buy into the hyped up fear. From the beginning of the plague, we would get people who would call and say, we're all gonna die. And I would say, don't buy into the hyped up fear. Because what they want, obviously, is you afraid. All they do is push fear, push fear, push fear, push fear, push fear, push fear, you know, and you know that they're lying and lying and lying about so many things. Let's take cannabis, for example. For the last 70 years at least, the government, the the for-profit medical industrial complex, and the media have all worked together to lie to us about cannabis and the medicinal qualities of cannabis. Why on earth would they do that? Why on earth would they do that about this substance that is so amazingly renewable? A medicine that you can grow in your backyard. A medicine that helps people with Alzheimer's. A medicine that helps people with dementia. A medicine that helps people with cancer. A medicine that helps people with sleeping issues. It goes on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg medicinally. Then there's all these other resources that we could have been using it for decades and decades and decades. And you know why? You know why we haven't? Because somebody needed to make money. The pharmaceutical companies needed to make money. The textile industries needed to make money. The petroleum companies needed to make money. The tobacco industries needed to make money. The alcohol industry needed to make money. And as I've said over and over again, when you use cannabis, it does something to you. It connects you to the earth. The powers that be, the people that are in control, don't want you connected to the earth. They want you very separate from the earth. They want you to look at the earth and nature as some kind of a threat to you that must be conquered, not lived with and being a part of nature. That's the last thing they want. Cannabis connects you to the earth. Cannabis connects you spiritually to each other. You know, people puff, puff, pass, puff, puff, pass. You know, it's this beautiful thing where, you know, it's not just the puff, puff, pass. It's like you get a higher sense of empathy. Not only do you get a higher sense of empathy, I think it comes from having this higher sense of inner peace, you know? So you relax and you drop all these, you know, all these walls that you have up in place, all your defenses, they just kind of fall off. And you go, and if you don't have all these defenses up, then you can talk to this person and talk to that person and reach out to whoever, you know? So it connects us to the earth, it connects us to each other, it connects us to the higher spirit, making us all way more complete, way more whole, way more understanding our place on this planet, in this culture. That's not what they want. They want you afraid. They want you lost. They want you not knowing which way to go next, you know? And I think they're achieving that, which is really unfortunate, because once the fear gets inside of you, it's very difficult to get it out of you. It's very difficult. So I would recommend that you focus on that fear and you say, it's stupid. Get it out of me. I don't want this fear anymore. And if you need a bong hit, we'll be taking one momentarily. Now let's do some hyped up fear about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. They're coming for you. They're coming for your children. And they're doing it at hypersonic speeds.
Russia warning the U.S. not to deploy hypersonic missiles in Europe. That as Moscow showed off its own launch, with one traveling 7 times the speed of sound. Lucas Tomlinson is live at the Pentagon on this for us. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Sandra. Here's how the Pentagon reacted to the launch.
Russia's new hypersonic missiles are potentially destabilizing and pose significant risks because they are nuclear-capable systems. By contrast, the United States is developing solely non-nuclear hypersonic strike capabilities.
Why are the Russians developing nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles, but the United States is not
making nuclear capable.
You'd have to ask Vladimir Putin.
The Russian Defense Ministry is showing off this new hypersonic missile. The Russians claim the air pressure in front of the missile forms a plasma cloud as it moves, absorbing radio waves, making it invisible to U.S. missile defense systems. The Russian missile has a 620-mile range. The Russian embassy in Washington responded to Kirby, quote, "Potential development of any hypersonic missile in Europe would be extremely destabilizing. Their short flight time would leave Russia little to no decision time and raise likelihood of inadvertent conflict." Today, Russian President Vladimir Putin rolled out a new fifth-generation Russian fighter jet at an air show outside Moscow to rival the U.S. F-35.
Russian aviation has a big potential for development, and our aircraft-making industries continue to create new competitive aircraft designs.
And in Vienna, officials blame Russia for attacking dozens of American diplomats and spies in recent months with a non-lethal pulse causing the Havana syndrome. 200 have been attacked worldwide.
It's causing great morale, difficulties in morale for our people, and obviously we have a moral and an ethical responsibility to do something about this.
Officials say some intelligence agents here in the United States have been targeted, causing their families to have to relocate. Sandra?
Lucas Tomlinson live at the Pentagon for us. Lucas, thank you. John?
It's all right, whatever gets you through the night. It's all right, it's all right. No one puff puff passes anymore. Is that what you're trying to tell me? The puff puff passes are done. The plague killed it. No one does the puff puff pass. No one does that. I don't know. I generally don't do the puff puff pass. I haven't done it for a long time because I don't mind loading bong hits for people, fat dabs, and getting them, you know, a nice buzz. I get out a different bong and I load it for them out of that bong. But that's been a long time since I've done that for the last 15 years or so. Feeling much better now. Okay, so I have numerous videos I will be happy to play for you. Did anyone see that shame game video that I posted over the weekend? Any of you watch that? It's a monologue from a local news commentator here in Seattle. She's been around a long time. I don't much care for her. Because I used to see her in the protest, and she'd be this, she'd be this like, oh, these protesters are so blah, 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 out of control. And then she'd be like, oh, I don't feel safe, and she'd have to leave the protest. Unless you're a fucking cop, you know, you're probably safe at the protest, unless, of course, the cops are fucking with people. I mean, we've seen the cops pepper spray a 90-year-old woman. We've seen the cops pepper spray an 8-year-old boy at the protest. We saw cops pepper spray a 9-year-old girl in handcuffs in a police car. We saw that again and again. I played it over and over. And why? Because this is who cops are. They don't give a fuck who they hurt. They're just doing their job. What now?
Oh, this is Falcon. Dude, I was listening to you talking about how, like, people, you know, they think they want to, like, smoke off my rig and stuff, bro, but this is my rig. Okay, and the puff pass days are over, bro. If you don't have weed, you're lame. Get it through your thick head, bro. This ain't all peace and love anymore, motherfuckers. This shit is legitimately, this is my fucking weed, and you need to get your own fucking weed, bitch.
Yeah.
You know?
And then we can share it. You can go, ooh, look at my weed. And go, ooh,
No, we're
look
not
at my
sharing
weed.
any of this
You're like,
shit.
oh, your weed looks good. Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
I will
your weed
sometimes,
looks good too.
Sometimes I do this to, like, fuck with the noobs and stuff. I just tell them, like, hey, bro, I got some really good fucking shit over here. Come over here. And I just give them the shittiest shit ever. And they're like, oh, my God, dude, that was so epic. And I just do that to just fucking, like, tell my other friends that are cool, like, how stupid they were. That's what they do, you know? I mean, these people don't even know about weed, any, like, new age weed people and stuff. Like, yeah. Yeah, I gotta go. I got another call.
Yes, he had to go. As far as weed and new age weed, it seems like people are becoming more educated when it comes to cannabis. You know, obviously, you know, if places like South Dakota are voting to get cannabis legalized, and all these other states, you know, people are obviously becoming much more educated about it, understanding much more that it's not the reefer madness threat that we've been, you know, taught to believe that it is. And anyone who has really experienced cannabis, which means, you know, smoked it or ate it more than once, knows cannabis isn't a threat. Cannabis is in no way a threat, except for unless you have a lot of money in petroleum stocks, or if you have a lot of money in alcohol stocks, or tobacco stocks, or the for-profit medical industrial complex stocks. Because all of those things are going to take a hit. Which is why they've kept it illegal. Because they don't want you running your cars on it. They don't want you building your houses out of it. They don't want you making your clothing from it. They don't want you feeding hungry people with it. They don't want you using it as medicine. And how many thousands of other things is it that this amazing resource could be used for that we don't even know? Because in this modern day world where, you know, we can make amazing things happen, you have this incredibly easily renewable resource, you know, that you can renew every 3 months, right? It takes no pesticides to grow it. And you can do almost anything with it. You know, like I said, you can build houses out of it. You can make your clothing out of it. You can, you know, use it for medicine, party. People, and I believe honestly that people are coming around, you know. And it's not just that they're coming around, it's that they are becoming much more educated or much more experienced on you know, what's good, what's bad. And it takes a considerable amount of time if you're going to the recreational store and you know, there's 50 different flowers to choose from, which would be a small store. You know, it takes a minute to kind of figure out what you want or what you're dealing with. But I believe that lots and lots of people are becoming much more educated on it. So, and it's a good thing because, this is flowers that can make a huge difference in the world. And, and the evil people that are in power don't want anything that make a huge difference in the world, huge difference in society, huge difference in culture, moving us forward, bringing us forward into the 21st century with all these industries that we've never even imagined because hemp, cannabis, was this evil substance that was gonna make all the white women sleep with black men, right? That's what it was. This is the way they vilified cannabis. Is that if your daughter uses cannabis, she's gonna be running around with a bunch of blacks. She's gonna be screwing around with a bunch of black people, black men. That's the way that and again, how can it be so blatant, and that people still fucking believe that cannabis is bad? They vilified it so over the top, so so much farther than is even remotely reasonable. I don't know. I see the government, I see the news, I see the for-profit medical industrial complex. I see them all as these entities who have tried to steer us wrong on cannabis, right? And if the government, if the mainstream media, if the medical complex, right, the for-profit medical complex, where we go to get some of the most important information that we're ever going to get in our lives, if they've lied to us, doesn't that mean that they lose all credibility? If they lied to us about something so simple, something so obvious as, oh, you're having anxiety, you're having depression, you're having trouble sleeping at night, why don't you try taking some of these flowers? They're completely harmless, and people seem to be having amazing results with them. Why don't we try that before we get you on some damn pharmaceutical made out of chemicals that you have no idea what the fuck they are? And generally speaking, they're there to fuck with your brain. So how anybody can trust the for-profit medical industrial complex, what they say, what they say, how they act, what they try and tell you need to do. How can we believe them? How can we believe the government when we watch them lie again and again and again? When we watch them cover up police brutality again and again and again? When we watch them lie us into wars and then not hold a single person accountable for doing so, costing us trillions of dollars, costing us trillions of dollars, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of American lives. Our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers killed completely based on lies that our government put out. So how in the hell can we trust them on anything, knowing what they've done, who they've been? Oh, you can't question us about the election. We would never pull shenanigans when it comes to an election. What we've seen, what they've done. And now, if you question it, you're an insurrectionist. You're a domestic terrorist. You're a threat to us all if you question what the government tells you. You are now currently a threat to each and every good citizen in this country. Are you not aware of this? Am I just the only one paying attention? Because I don't think that's true. In fact, I know that you know all these things that I'm saying. And I find it so hard to believe that there are still people out there who don't know that all these things, that the government lies and lies and lies, that the for-profit medical industrial complex lies and lies and lies, that the mainstream news, which is everything, the local news, the morning local news, anything that remotely resembles news, is now lying, 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 lying. But we're supposed to not question them in any way. If you question them, you're not a good person. You're not a good citizen. Not only are you not a good citizen, you are a threat to little children. Not the war profiteers who blow up little children every single fucking day in the most heinous ways you can imagine. Landmines, dropping bombs on them, barrages, thousands of bullets a minute. You know, this is who the U.S. government is. This is a true threat to little children. Not questioning the government. Not questioning. When did it become wrong to want to question things? Isn't that what you're supposed to teach your children? To question everything so that you can understand it more thoroughly? Oh, what's this? That's a question. Oh, what's this happening? What is that thing doing? What's going on over here? All of those things inform you more. But we're not allowed to be that person anymore. Because if you are, you're a threat to everyone. And if you're a threat to everyone, eventually they're going to put you in a cage so that at least the threat to everyone is now contained. And this is why the people must come together and actually have an uprising, actually have an insurrection, actually send these lying bastards to prison forever. Once we can come together and recognize who the real threat to little children is, who the real threat to your children's future is. Because it's not me. It's not people who protested on January 6th. The biggest threat to your lives, to your children's lives, is officials who lie to you. People who you turn to as if they are a trusted source. And they lie, they look you in the face and they lie to you. That is the biggest threat to your life and to your children's lives. Does it ring a bell? Who comes to mind when you think of people who look you in the eyes and lie to you? Why don't you think about that for a minute? And I'll play a video here while I go and warm up my tea. I might even get a brownie. And while you're thinking about people lying to you, I'm going to play this clip of Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci from a hearing today on COVID. And Rand Paul is basically accusing Fauci of lying under oath about funding. I keep forgetting the word of the research where they make the viruses more transmissible, right? Rand Paul is asking about the funding of that kind of research in the Wuhan lab. Basically, what it is that created, supposedly, possibly created the COVID virus. I want to make sure and qualify it. It possibly created the COVID virus, possibly in a laboratory, possibly in China, possibly starting in the U.S. and then moving to China. Remember about who's lying to you and how that is the biggest threat to you, to your children, to all of us, especially if they are some type of official who we're supposed to go to for solid information about important subjects. So I'm going to play that video for you now because I thought it was a pretty powerful clip and that you might want to see it in case you haven't yet. Be right back.
As that news develops, the nation's top health officials testifying before a Senate committee today. There were some fireworks. Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and Dr. Anthony Fauci at one point going at it over gain-of-function research. Listen here.
Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress.
Microphone.
Your microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
So
let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get
NIH,
one person.
Let's read from the NIH definition of gain of function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's let Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a minute.
If it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
In just moments, Texas Governor Greg Abbott joins us to talk about how his state plans to handle some of the shifting COVID guidance, especially when it comes to schools. We'll also talk to the former Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams, about the potential for new mandates on indoor masking.
So much to ask both of them, but we begin first with congressional correspondent Jackie Heinrich. She's live from Capitol Hill at this hour where there is quite a bit of news developing. Jackie, what's the latest?
There sure is, Sandra. Well, a lot of eyeballs on that exchange there that you just heard, but we're also watching this hearing to see if Dr. Fauci or CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky give any indication that the CDC will change its guidance for mask wearing, including on public transportation and planes where masks are still required amid the spreading variant and amid the patchwork of cities now going against the CDC guidance and requiring masks indoors regardless of vaccination status. We're also watching to see whether there will be any change to CDC guidance for schools, which says vaccinated students and teachers can go without masks, as the American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending anyone older than age 2 wear a mask regardless of vaccination status. So far, no news on those points. The White House has said in recent days and weeks they don't expect the CDC mask guidance to change, saying that the science is showing vaccines are effective even against the spreading variants. Instead, they've been trying to increase vaccinations among hesitant populations and curb vaccine misinformation. The highlights from the hearing, though, have been around COVID origins. Listen. Listen.
You are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. This has been evaluated multiple times by qualified people to not fall under the gain of function definition. I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed.
Former Surgeon General under President Trump, Jerome Adams, has said that he and Dr. Fauci famously and wrongly advised against wearing masks at the beginning of the pandemic, citing science that was available at the time and the supply shortage of masks. Adams has said that the CDC is at risk for committing a similar misstep. He says that they should be pushing vaccines and masks in places with rising caseloads until the numbers start to come down. Sandra?
All right, Jackie Heinrich live on Capitol Hill for us. Keep us posted. Thank you. John?
That girl's kind of cute. Gain of function, that was the research that I was talking about that was funded by the NIH, National Institute for Health, which I believe Dr. Fauci is ahead of. So apparently, according to Rand Paul, that this group funded the gain of function research, which makes the virus more transmittable. So the real question is, do you trust the government? Maybe that should be the title for tomorrow night's show. Title for tomorrow night's show, do you trust the government? I think we're going there. Hello, caller.
Oh, Craig got the night off?
Craig's in Vegas.
Oh, well, I was going to call up in a comedic way and tell you that my name is Yaakov Goldenschnozzle and that Ben and Jerry is attacking the great continent of Israel, and the Palestinians are running into our clouds of poison. But I think I'll skip all that bullshit and just get down to this planetary tragedy. Fauci's straight up lying. He knows he's lying. If you ever want to see
Yeah, hold on. I mean, if you watch that clip, I was to play that clip again for you, what you would see is if you look really closely, you can see Fauci literally shaking, and you can see his whole fucking forehead is all wrinkled up, and he's very fucking nervous about what he's saying and being pressed by Rand Paul. Go ahead.
He knows the ramifications of action that could be taken against him. He could be thrown in jail for the rest of his life.
Amen.
And he's really a giant fucking rat stuck in a corner. He's going to fight it out to the death. He's going to just try to throw word salad at people and try to. He's actually said, you can find this clip. He said, if you question him, you're questioning science. He said that. He is science, and he is the classic narcissist, the classic high-functioning psychopath. He has made millions of dollars off of vaccines because he owns the patents on vaccines. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, makes millions of dollars off of vaccines. There has always been ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and other things that are non-patented that help in the prophylactic, that means the protective area of not getting this man-made virus. There's always been that, but they've always called the people, including the doctors, pushing that truth, that narrative. They've called them crazy, they've called them radicals, they've called them terrorists.
Right, okay.
Because they want to make money off the new vaccine.
Well, that seems to be the big problem with the whole fucking culture, is that they want to make money. It doesn't matter. All that matters is making money. Okay? And you need to get with the program, man. Or fucking realize when somebody who doesn't make any money, lives on nothing, comes out and tries day after day after day to help people become aware. Okay? It's not my fault nobody shows up. I fucking worked and worked and worked to get it to where people could show up, and Google fucked us. So listen. What's happening where you're at?
It's super hot. It's kind of hot and humid. Maybe, I don't know, 93, 95, something like that. Not super hot, but hot enough to be, not to want to go out and work in the full sun. But, this is a planetary scam, Michael, and we gotta, when science gets corrupted and people in white coats do harm and politicians do harm and the president or the secretary of state says, we think 500,000 children is worth it, it's time for a revolution. Fuck these people, fuck the scientists, fuck the doctors, fuck the politicians, fuck everyone in the public eye and public service who fucking lies. Fuck them, call them out. And that guy is a psychopath. Fauci is a psychopath. And they never admit they're wrong. And if they did do something wrong, well, it's somebody else's fault. And if you got them on tape doing something wrong, well, that guy jumped onto my knife. They never admit they do anything wrong. And he's been under the gun, especially for the last month, because there was a Senate hearing with 4 doctors, which you must have missed, because I can find it and I can give it to you. But it was about three and a half weeks ago. They were just, Fauci was invited, but he didn't show up, and they were all Republican senators questioning these 4 doctors, and they all were the top doctors, and they all said, yes, this is gain of function, and so Fauci's been squirming since that national. It was broadcast nationwide. That's 3.5 weeks ago. So that's why, he's nervous and he knows he can go down. And he's been running interference for 17 months now, saying, "Oh yeah, it's a penguin, it's an octopus, it's killer whales. The virus came from murder hornets. There's anything he can." Oh, and what you do is you wear a mask, you don't wear a mask, and everyone can get vaccinated, and pretty soon the 3-year-olds will get vaccinated. And they had the vaccines patented, that means there's records, in 2019, before the virus ever came about.
Yeah, okay. Take a breath.
I'm sorry, man, but you understand that I'm upset because I care about people and I care about my planet, and this is a planetary crime. It's crimes against humanity. And you know what? Fauci is just a minor fucking player when it gets down to it. He's just one of many. He's the public face of these fake doctors,
right?
Fake scientists.
Yeah, I get that. And it's not just doctors and scientists. It's, he's the public face of pure evil, so...
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go so far.
Well, it's fucking obvious that you already have gone that far. I just put a label on it for you. Okay?
Well, I'm not going to include the Illuminati in my diatribe.
I didn't do that. I said they're pure evil. He's the face of... he's the front man for the pure evil, and he qualifies pretty close to that for himself, but I don't want to give him too much credit.
Right, he's got this Napoleon complex because he's a small man, and they tend to overcompensate. He's what you call an intellectual, a cerebral psychopath. Like, I'm really smart, I'm going to overcompensate for my lack of self-esteem with intellectual stuff, and he's making money, and he's a respected member of society, and he's the highest paid public servant in the United States. He makes more money than the fucking president, that guy.
President doesn't make a lot of money, dude.
Yeah, well, there's no one in the United States, who's employed by the United States, who makes more money than Anthony Fauci. So I hope the guy gets what's coming to him, and I hope that people like Rand Paul, and I don't even think Rand Paul is completely on top of this situation. I'm appreciative that he's trying, but he doesn't know that the vaccines were patented in 2019.
I'm sure he knows a lot that he's not letting on to there, or his, he may just be being fed these fucking notes that he's supposed to, that he reads, that he glances over, and then he forms his fucking questions off of that. But if he doesn't know it, then there's somebody else working with him to help him make happen what he needs to know, and those people know it. So
yeah, I'm hoping his interns will feed him all the stuff that I know, that I've sent it to you. I've put stuff, a bit shoot on your
all right.
Your Facebook page.
So
right?
what about Ben and Jerry's?
Well, yeah, that's good, but fucking I think Ben and Jerry should go even further than that. They should eliminate all of their ice cream shops in all of Israel until Palestine is free. That would be a bigger impact. That would be much better, because all they're doing is Israeli-occupied Palestine. What's that? Gaza Strip.
Yeah. No, I already explained this. I agree. I think that they shouldn't. It brings attention to it, which is good. But they should be saying, we're not going to sell ice cream in Israel anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason is because, if you're good, on the way home, we'll stop and get ice cream. Well, Israel's not good, so they don't deserve fucking ice cream, and Ben and Jerry should be able to figure that out.
Yeah. It's one more, slowly the world is turning to recognize the colonial settler state of Israel as an apartheid regime, a violent, brutal, butcherous apartheid regime that many people, including United Nations officials, say is far worse than South Africa ever was, and I would have to agree with them. So, every little thing like Ben and Jerry's does this or that helps the cause, but it ain't getting rid of AIPAC. That would help the cause right there. If you get rid of AIPAC, that would have a big effect. No more money to Congress from Israel. And like you say, and I agree, stop all funding to Israel. Just stop it right now. Let them take care of themselves. They're big boys.
And the thing is, really, getting rid of AIPAC is nice, but we should do it under the guise of getting rid of all foreign lobbies. There should
Not
be
even under the guise.
there should be no foreign lobbies. That way, it's not as if we're attacking Israel.
Right.
We're saying, this is unacceptable, so we're not going to have that in our country anymore.
The common excuse that Israeli politicians give, and a lot of Israeli citizens, is that no other country is being picked on like Israel. No other country would get criticism when there's rockets being launched into our country, and we're not allowed to strike back. It's complete hypocrisy. They're not fighting an army. They're butchering an occupied people. They've stolen the land. They're criminals, and they need the support of the world to survive and to cover up their crimes. And it's a shame. Australia is equally as bad as the United States in terms of supporting Israeli crimes. Israel came about in the first place in 1917. A guy, Lord Balfour, made an agreement. The Zionist coalition went to England and said, "You guys are losing World War I. We will bring the United States, which was an isolationist country, not in World War I yet. Germany was beating England. And they said, we will bring the United States into World War I. Well, we want something in return. We want Palestine. And that was the Balfour Declaration. And the Zionist organization, the WZO, World Zionist Organization, did bring, because of their already existing political power, the United States into World War I. And, of course, we know what happened in World War I. The Germans were defeated, and 20 years later they came up again. Hitler came 20 years later after that. You know, apparently when it comes to Israel, religion and politics and genealogy, supposedly, you know, DNA, is all mixed up in this dirty little soup called Zionism in Israel, and we can't tell if you're a religion, if you're a country, if you're a political movement. Are you atheist? Did God give you the land? If you're atheist, how did God give you the land? You know, it's a crazy. We don't do that. We're just straight up butchers here. It's like, oh, you're a redskin, we'll kill you. Boom. Oh, you're black. We're
Okay, enough. All right. I gotta have a break, man. I can't deal with this.
Take a break. Bye.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, I'm gonna play this video that I posted over the weekend because I think it's a really good video, and I want you to see it in case you missed it. It's called COVID-19 and the Shame Game. I'll be right back.
All right, each week on The Divide, Brandy Cruz urges a return to reason. And this week, she looks at statements politicizing vaccinations.
I'll start this segment on vaccinations as I have others. I am fully vaccinated. I got it at the first available opportunity. And because of others who chose to do the same thing, the state this week hit a 70% vaccination rate, the rate that health experts hoped we would achieve all along. And I don't ever say, you know, 100% or something ridiculous, because the reality is you're always going to have a segment of the population that does not get vaccinated. 100% vaccination isn't realistic. But Governor Jay Inslee is not content at herd immunity, and he seems to know where to place the blame for us not exceeding his expectations.
You are a bioreactor facility generating virus and spreading it around, including to kids who can't get vaccinated. I want to reiterate that. If you're a 50-year-old man who, you know, voted for Donald Trump and didn't think COVID was a problem and you don't get vaccinated right now, you arrest every kid in your city, because you could be spreading a virus to a 10-year-old who can't get eligible for the vaccine right now. Now, some of us think that's not responsible. And if that's judgmental, so be it.
And look, there is some data that shows Republican-leaning areas are less vaccinated. You can see that data for yourself. This is a map from the Department of Health. Let's take a look at this. The lighter the color, the less vaccinated the population. Some counties you can see over there on the east side of the state, much lighter than on the west side. Some of those counties hovering around 30% for vaccinations. So certainly, look, it seems factual that Republican-leaning areas are less vaccinated, although there can be many factors that contribute to that, including that those areas are more rural and vaccines might not be as readily available in those areas or as convenient. But all of that aside, ponder, if you will, for a moment with me, ponder the purpose of the governor's comment.
If you're a 50-year-old man who, you know, voted for Donald Trump and didn't think COVID was a problem and you don't get vaccinated right now, you arrest every kid in your city.
So there can really only be two reasons the governor said what he said there. Either one, he wants to shame people who supported the former president, or two, he wants to change behavior by making people feel guilty. It's a tactic he's employed at many stages of the pandemic, like when he said this last year about teenagers continuing to party.
Someone asked the other day, what's the penalty for a young person going out to a restaurant or hanging in a social get-together? And it's true, the penalty is you might kill your grandparent.
So when it comes to the governor's comments about Trump supporters, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it's not about shaming people just because they supported Trump, but rather it is his way of trying to change behaviors that he, as the governor tasked with keeping us safe and healthy, wants to convince remaining holdouts to get a vaccine. So if we operate on that belief that that is his motivation, ask yourself, does this help accomplish that goal?
You are a bioreactor facility generating virus and spreading it around, including to kids who can't get vaccinated. I want to reiterate that. If you're a 50-year-old man who, voted for Donald Trump and didn't think COVID was a problem and you don't get vaccinated right now, you arrest every kid in your city because you could be spreading a virus to a 10-year-old who can't get eligible for the vaccine right now. Now, some of us think that's not responsible. And if that's judgmental, so be it.
So let's say there are Trump supporters out there watching who are not vaccinated who heard that, who heard the governor speaking directly to them, calling them bioreactors who are putting children at risk.
If you're a 50-year-old man who, voted for Donald Trump and didn't think COVID was a problem and you don't get vaccinated right now, you arrest every kid in your city.
Do you believe, truly, that there is a Trump supporter on the planet who would hear Governor Inslee say that and suddenly feel compelled, feel a sudden call to duty, if you will, to get a vaccine? Not a chance. And the governor knows that. He does. So again, we go back to the only two possible reasons that the governor brought politics into the conversation to begin with. Again, one, he wanted to publicly shame Trump supporters, or two, he was hoping he could convince them to actually get vaccinated by calling them bioreactors. As I think we all know, the latter at this stage doesn't really make any sense. People who are willing to get a vaccine, by and large, have already done so. So we're only left with option number one. That despite the fact our state is among the most vaccinated in the country, despite the fact we are fully reopened, despite the fact we hit the goal the state set for itself, the governor still feels the need to shame those who chose not to get a vaccine, but only if they also chose to support the former president.
And if that's judgmental, so be it.
I'm not a fan of that woman, but I really liked what was said there. And I'm not so concerned about Trump voters as the whole shame thing on everybody. The whole, you're a threat. You're a threat to children. Biden saying basically the same thing, which means that they all got the talking points memo. If Biden say the same thing as this guy's saying the same thing, then they've all got the talking points memo so that they give a similar message, so that people are getting the similar message. Oh, those people are bad. This is the message that's being said. We're creating more and more division. Those people are bad. They're a threat. They could kill us all. They could kill our children. This is again evil. And I was thinking I was gonna do a show titled "I'm Okay, You're Okay." What happened to that? Right? I'm okay, you're okay. In the 70s, in the early 80s, people were looking around for enlightening, self-awareness kind of philosophies, right? I don't see a lot of it now. I could be wrong. But anyways, there was a lot of stuff. And there was a book called I'm Okay, You're Okay. And I don't think it was a very long book. I think it was only about 200 pages, maybe a little less. And it was this philosophy, you live your life, I'll live my life, and I'll let you live your life without my intrusion as long as your life isn't somehow intruding into mine. So you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And now it's, if you do your thing, you are a threat to my children. If you don't do what you're told, if you don't act as if you're part of the herd, I've told you before, I don't like that word, and I've never been part of the herd, so it doesn't really work for me. If you're not part of the herd, you're a threat to all of us. And I would think that that kind of is the herd mentality, you know. So why on earth would someone want to be part of the herd? And I get it. I understand people want to belong. People want to be part of something. People want to look each other and go, yeah, you're one of the good ones. And I think this is why the I'm okay, you're okay thing doesn't really exist anymore. Because they want to be part of the good guys, which means you can't really be the good guys unless there's bad guys, right? It's not the I'm okay, you're okay. You know, I live my life, you live your life, and you're entitled to live your life the way you want. And I wouldn't want to change that because I want to live my life the way I want, and I wouldn't want anyone interfering with that. So I find it, you know, I just, that's the kind of thing that has set into me, you know, is that I may not fit in. I may not, I may say outrageous things in very wrong situations. I may walk into, you know, somewhere barefoot. I'm not here to somehow jump through a hoop that makes it seem like I'm acceptable to you. I don't really care about being acceptable to you or anyone else. No offense. I don't mean that in some negative way. I look at it as an empowering thing. You know, again, you do you, I'll do me. I am, and to do me my own way, my own style, not care about, oh, you know, this is, the beards are so passé now, you know, which with everybody sporting beards, it's getting a little weird. That being said, you know, I don't care. I don't care what the style is. I don't care what's in today. You know, what I care about, as I said at the beginning of the show, is enjoying what there is to enjoy in this moment. In this moment where this cup of tea is so nice, where that brownie kicking in is pretty sweet. You know, where we get to come together and share. You know, that's why I do this, is because it again is this thing that happens in this moment. And I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good in this moment. Hello, caller.
What up, man? It's Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. How you doing, bro?
You know what? I can't complain. I had a good weekend. I had some people that drove in from out of town to see us.
Right on.
And they just had their first baby, and she went to church with my wife, so we've known this girl since she was a baby, you know, like a little girl.
Yeah.
So it was good to see her and her, you know, and the baby and all that. But what I was listening to you about the whole vaccine stuff like that. Like, I was talking to them, and her father died of COVID.
Yeah.
And her dude is like, he didn't get vaccinated. Now, I don't know if she got vaccinated. I didn't ask her that because it's a touchy subject because his dad just died.
Yeah.
And her father passed right before the baby was born, and that was going to be the first granddaughter. You know, so everybody was excited that he got COVID and it just kicked his ass. You know?
Yeah.
You know, but he was one of the guys, if you want to say preconditioned or whatever. But people are just kind of what you're saying, like, hey, it's my decision, whatever. And I believe, Mark, that's the big issue that government has to deal with, because here in Missouri, here in St. Louis County, they done put the mask mandate back because the people in the western part of Missouri didn't get vaccinated. And so the Delta virus is kicking their ass. You know what I'm
And
saying?
they're making people wear a mask again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, here in St. Louis County, yes. My wife got the text today because she subscribed to the local news or the local, like, policy, whatever. It's just the news. It's the hey, boom. So now that means every store has to put more signs up. Hey, look, you know, X, Y, and Z, you got to put your mask back on, you know, and just shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying, dude? So, you know, like, I don't know what the proper answer is. If the proper answer is, well, if you don't have to wear a mask, get vaccinated, or do nothing, then but you gonna have that risk of dying, right? That's like saying, then why the fuck we got seatbelt laws? Well, that's because of insurance. But once insurance companies start not paying, or once insurance companies start changing policies and saying, hey, if the government mandates something and you don't follow it and you get X, Y, and Z, then we're gonna not pay you. And insurance companies do that shit all the time when it comes to people getting killed in car wrecks, out of seatbelt, blah, 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 blah. So eventually the insurance companies are gonna start doing that shit to where if you want to be insured, then you got to be vaccinated, man. I bet you.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before the vaccine.
Yeah.
I mean, you can already, when they're saying this shit about how, you know, if you're not vaccinated, you're a threat to little children and you know this stuff, look, man, this stuff where they're making people put the mask back on, right, Brandon? This is the way I see it, okay? Is that especially in this middle of July, 100-degree heat, oh, you got to wear your mask, right? They let people take the mask off, right? And the people are like, oh, thank God, I don't got to wear that mask anymore. And then they went, oh, due to the low vaccine rate and people getting sick again, because it's all because of unvaccinated people, now you have to put your mask back on in 100-degree heat in the middle of July. So it's this pressure thing to where there's two things going on. Okay, one is this thing where, you know, anybody who's not vaccinated is not just bad and a threat. They're fucking up my daily existence because I got to put this stupid fucking mask back on. That's one. Number two is that is the way I see it is they want to say, oh, well, we told the unvaccinated people that they had to wear masks, and we said the vaccinated people don't have to wear masks anymore, and the unvaccinated people went ahead and stopped wearing masks too, so now we have to have a passport. We have to have a COVID passport on your phone, QR code that says you were vaccinated, and everybody's going to have to show that passport wherever they go. And that's what, and this way, you good people, the ones who have got vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask anymore. And that way we'll know that everybody's on that page. You know, that's what's happening, Brandon, with this reinstate.
Well, maybe this is just new territory for us because if you recall, I'm assuming, well, I don't know if you recall because I don't fucking know, and you shouldn't know, but I'm assuming back in the day, if someone challenged someone riding a horse, if that was his horse, he would probably have to prove that that was his horse, whether it be with a brand, you know what I'm saying? And then if you look when people started getting cars, and it had to be driving license and or social security numbers, whenever that shit was created. You know, I just believe that this is just going to be the fucking new norm because for years, the world has went through these pandemics with these fucking coronaviruses, and we get it. It's us moving out to more, you know, remote locations where these animals and shit or whatever, and or either they're testing them and then there is possible leaks. If it was a leak, then it was a really bad fucking leak, obviously. But at the end of the day, this shit keeps happening. So there's going to be more regulation when it comes to sterilizing these wild animals like the camels in the Middle East because that's where one of the fucking coronaviruses came from. You know, So that's just going to be the norm, Mox. You know, but what I do want to tell you, man, the reason why I called in is that I had a buddy of mine that went to a wedding. So he flew from Washington State back to Georgia. And after the wedding and everything, he drove, he borrowed our buddy's car that is a dentist. You know, and he drove to Alabama to see his daughter and the rest of his family. And he got pulled over by the cops in Alabama. And he just moved from Alabama to Seattle, and he forgot to pay a speeding ticket. So when the cops, you know, the guy gave him all his information, his concealed carry information. Cause, you know, we military, we ride with a gun. You know, drive, whatever. He had all the documentation. The cop comes back and was like, hey, you know, put the handcuffs on him because his you know, his license was expired or whatever, or suspended. And then he put the handcuffs on my friend Tice, puts him in the car, then apparently goes on a high-speed chase and didn't even buckle my buddy in the backseat of the cop car.
Yeah.
Now, this guy did 20 years in the Army. He's almost 50 fucking years old.
Yeah.
He's sliding all around, he's getting banged up.
Yeah.
So when he gets to jail, he calls, you know, the guy whose car he had, which is a dentist. And the guy's like, what happened? So, you know, him and his wife come up, you know, pay the $800 for his fine of his driving license or whatever. He has to pay another $200-something to get his car out. But then my buddy goes and he asks to speak to the watch captain. And he told the guy straight up, he was like, you need to go watch that videotape of how he did this. You know what I'm saying? He was like, it was wrong.
Yeah.
And I told my buddy, and this just happened like a few weeks ago. And I said, dude, you need to fucking hire a lawyer. I said, that's bullshit.
Yeah. That's what happened to Freddie Gray, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And they call it, in Baltimore, where Freddie Gray died, they call it the Baltimore Rough Ride. And that's when the cops put you into the paddy wagon and they don't strap you down. And they put you in handcuffs. And so your hands are behind your back. And then they drive the truck like crazy, and you just get thrown all over the truck, and it actually killed Freddie Gray. Yeah. So, that's pretty fucked up shit, B.
And it's so disheartening because I did 2 combat tours with this man. I know his kids, his daughters are all grown up. One just graduated from Alabama, and she's working on her master's, and she's gonna go to the Navy. You know, so she gonna go in the Navy as a damn captain.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, like this, you know, this dude did the right thing. You know, poor black kid from Gary, Indiana, joined the Army, never looked back.
Yeah.
And they gave his country everything. And then, you know, does what's right. You know, kids were college graduates.
I hear you.
Yeah, and it's just painful as a friend when he told me. And it just hurt my heart. And I told my wife, and of course we had company this weekend. They was, you know, in the room. Because I just, you know, he called me and told me. It was just so like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, I mean, he don't mind, like, okay, you ain't got to arrest me because my license are suspended or whatever. But you see that I'm totally legit and everything I got, you know, I can correct that. It's not an issue, but yet, when you put the handcuffs on them hard, and you talk shit to them, and then you fucking go on a goddamn joyride where my man sliding back and forth is just fucking just so stupid to where like is we have psychos in the fucking police force. You know, normal people don't do this. Even to be honest, a racist guy wouldn't do that. Yeah. This is just a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got psychos, man.
This seems to be the problem. You know, I've talked about this a lot. You know, you want to believe that there's good cops in the police, right? And there probably is people who want to be good in the police, but the problem is they know who these psycho guys are. The other cops do. The ones who want to be good, they know who those guys are. They know that they're going to go out today and that they're going to hurt somebody. And they know they're going to do it because they can. And the people that are good cops, they don't do anything to stop it. So how can they be good cops if that's the way things are?
Because it's all legal. Let me ask you this. Have you been paying attention? You probably even heard about it. Of the white 17-year-old high school kid that just got killed by the cop in Arkansas?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Listen, this 17-year-old kid, he was going to be a senior this year, and it's, school's out. He's riding around in his rag-ass pickup truck. He's a country boy.
Yeah.
And he gets pulled over by the cops. So when he gets out of his truck, when he gets pulled over, he gets killed. And the police officer did not put his body cam on. So it took 2 weeks, and then finally the sheriff fired the cop. And all these white people couldn't figure out what happened. So this was the police officer's defense, from my understanding, is that the guy got out the car with a gallon of antifreeze, and he shot him, or whatever transpired. But everyone who knew the kid in high school, and everyone said his gallon of antifreeze was his chalk block because his truck would roll back a little bit.
Yeah.
So now this white family hired the black attorney, Ben Crute. So Ben Crute and Al Sharpton went to Arkansas, and they was like, it's not about a black and white thing. Most of the time, it's about just government says I can just do what the fuck I want to you, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And these people in this small town in Arkansas, just look it up, man. It's sad.
Yeah.
Because these people are dumbfounded. They're like all white community, county or what. They don't understand what the fuck's up. They're like, what the fuck happened? Like, this is not this dude. This ain't this kid. And there's been no, and then whenever they did his funeral, they loaded him up on his pickup truck and drove him to the goddamn cemetery, man. Now, that's some fucking, some shit that the cops don't want to fuck with down there in the South when it comes to white boys, man. Because now you give it a real fucking excuse that, wait a minute, you are overstepping your bounds because you're cocky, or either you're just pissed off at your wife or whatever, or you're just scared.
Or you're a bad human being who has no business fucking being in any kind of control situation over other human beings. You are a legitimate danger to the public. And this is what I'm saying about the other cops. The other cops know who these guys are. And they could they could speak out. They could tell the media. They could do a lot of things. And the cops that want to be good cops, a lot of them wind up killing themselves. And I wish that they would send Mox News a video that spills all the fucking beans on their department, who's good, who's bad, and I will post that video the minute, they kill themselves. I don't want them to kill themselves, but I understand why you would in that situation. Although, you could walk away and do the right thing, too. You should tell your friend to get a lawyer, Brandon. I agree 100%. I think mostly because it's not so much that he should get something out of that as that you have to hold these fucking cunts, responsible. Because if nobody...
the squeaky wheel gets oiled.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's that if nobody holds them responsible, then why are they going to stop? They're never going to stop. But if you say, hey, if they make a big deal, they have a fucking, a lawsuit, then people find out who this person is, and, it's documented. You know what I mean? It's like if you're walking your Pomeranian and all of a sudden a pit bull runs out of somebody's house and attacks it, you have to call the police because that needs to be documented. This is a violent dog. And if they get 3 strikes, the dogs get put down. So that's 1. You know what I mean? That's important information that the community needs to know about. So I would recommend your friend get a lawyer. That's a good plan.
Yeah, man. But to be honest with you, he's just psychologically fucked up right now. You know, like it's still, because that's what it was. When he flew from Washington State to go to Georgia,
Yeah.
our buddy Robbie that we did comment towards was getting married, but he was getting married in Jamaica, and Robbie is now a fucking dentist.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Robbie balling out. He made like $40,000 a fucking month.
Nice.
So they went to the wedding, Jamaica, you know, and all that, and then he had a few more days to hang out. So he went to Alabama and he borrowed like my buddy's car, which legit, you know, Robbie don't do nothing.
Yeah.
He's a fucking dentist.
Yeah.
You know, he's a father. He's got 3 kids. He's married now, and it was just like everybody was just so fucked up on it. Like what? Like how does it go from 0 to 100? You know, and meaning like, hey, look, you know, you got this, but I understand your situation. Well, here's another ticket. But, you know, just, and then like, and Robbie was like, dude, this auto body for me. He was like, I told the officer, hey, man, could you please, like, loosen up the cuffs? They hurt my wrist. And then when he put them in the back of the car, didn't didn't secure them.
Yeah.
On the fucking, yeah, man, it's bullshit, man.
That's totally bullshit. I like I said, I think he should get a lawyer and just to document this shit, man. If nothing else, even if he doesn't make a penny off a lawsuit or whatever, just documenting that this guy is not one of the good ones, and that way, if something comes up again, people go, look, there's a pattern of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Just like a pit bull biting somebody. There's a pattern here.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's, but again, there's things that are intentional, and that's what I think that was. That was intentional. It's because whenever he rode up on my friend, and like my man said, I passed him. He and he did a U-turn, came back, and he goes, okay, I know why he pulling me over, and you know, so he had all his paperwork. And I guess the guy was, then he was disappointed in that. And then when he did the license thing, he says, aha, I got you, bitch. But he just handled it, you know, the police officer handled it so wrong because we all know if that would have been a grandmother that would have forgot to pay a damn bill, he wouldn't have been tripping.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that. We saw two cops fucking throw a 80-year-old woman to the ground and fucking manhandle her and do the same thing with the handcuffs and throw her in a jail cell with dementia. She doesn't know what's happening. She's saying, I'm just going home. I'm just going home, you know, and threw her in a jail cell and left her there in a cold jail cell, handcuffed, not knowing what's going on. And meanwhile, they're out front writing their paperwork up and fist bumping and high fiving and laughing about the old woman that they just fucking threw on the ground and manhandled. You know, it's disgusting, and it seems to be.
Did you see? Hey, on that, did you see where the cop knocked the patron out in Florida?
A bar. I'm not sure. A patron?
Yeah, it was this. It was apparently, it was, Florida's wide. It's been wide open. So, the cop came over. He heard like they was, just whatever, a guy at the bar being rude. So when one cop's body cam is on, so the cop walks up and they're having a conversation. So the dude stand up and gets in the cop's face and says, "Well, what's up?" The cop literally knocked this bitch out. It was so bad, the cop with the body cam was like, "Whoa, you got knocked the fuck out." It was like that. And then they arrested him and charged the guy. And of course, now the guy's suing because a different cop leaked the footage to the news agency and was like, dude, like he heard it through the grapevine, like, dude, you got to see that footage. That shit fucked up. So he leaked it.
Yeah.
But it's like Florida cop knocks out, guy. And it's crazy, man. Just put him to sleep, boss. But that's all, boss.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Brandon. And this is happening back and forth across the country, and the people of this great nation, the good people of this great nation, deserve, police that we can believe in. We deserve government we can believe in. We deserve a medical industrial complex that we can believe in. And we don't have any of those things. Hey, Brad, it's always good to hear from you. Oh, I wanted to ask you about, if it's bothering you that I keep asking you about stuff in theater, because I don't.
No, Moss. You know what? To be honest, I really enjoy you asking me that because a lot of people just don't know how it works over there. It's like we never think about how there's always gas at the gas station, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't ever really think about it. That's how the military is. Like, people who do not know nothing about it don't never really think about it. But yes, they'll bitch when gas prices get high or if there's no gas or pumps are closed, right? There's no unleaded or, cheap gas. You got to buy the Supreme.
Yeah.
And so you're bitching. You don't understand why this gas costs more because of the additives that are added to it to clean your engine or whatever. So that's like how I try to say that, how we deal with fuel in this country is a very well-lubed machine logistically, and that's the military. Meaning all forms of communication. I'm very familiar with a lot of it. But when you ask me questions, I'm glad you asked me because I'm going to give you the no shit, bullshit, real truth answer on it. How it really works.
And that's why I ask you, Brandon, because I know that you know, if you know what it is I'm asking you, you're going to give me a straight answer. Except for sometimes I have to go, you didn't answer my question, did you, Brandon?
Well, that's because I get sidetracked. I feel so fucked up and dumb whenever you ask me that. But yeah, it's just like, listen, I'm going to let you go after this. But this is one prime example. When I talk to neighbors, they want to bring up Benghazi, and they just think there's a military base in Libya going to show up and help out. I'm like, dude, there was thousands of miles away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a foreign country. You just can't, you got to ask permission. There's a lot going on. And then they had police. I'm like, you're so misinformed because you just think that we're world powers. We snap our fingers. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like you have to look at international law. It's so much shit going on. It's complicated. And a lot of, it's like putting a Lego together, man. It's a lot of people.
It's not a fucking movie.
Yeah, man. All right, boss. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate talking to you. Okay?
Hey, the next video is gonna have is about the January 6th protest, and it's about this one guy who's a special forces guy for 24 years. He did a couple of tours in Afghanistan. I thought you might be interested in that. So.
Oh yeah. So what? His ass got arrested.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
it bothers me because I seen him vilify the veterans. Like I remember when Obama came into office, and then it was like, oh, these veterans are might be a problem, and you have to keep an eye, make sure that. And then it was the Oath Keepers. Oh, a lot of veterans in the Oath Keepers, and it just really started to fucking. It's just not right. So, and now this guy who's a 20-year special forces guy, multiple tours in theater, they're calling him a fucking domestic terrorist and an insurrectionist and crap like that, and that really, I can't tell you how much that bothers me. It's like what you were saying with your friend.
Yeah, but Mox, look at it this way, okay? Is it bad when a police officer breaks the law? Yes. Is it bad when a lawyer, connives the system to like hide evidence or whatever, right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always levels of you have an obligation to say your trade. You right? If you're an electrician, you don't want the house to burn down. Or a plumber, you don't want, someone's basement to fill up with shit. Regardless of how bad they treat you. Or what you think of the customer. And I believe that whenever people take literally, when they raise their hand and they take that Constitution, they protect the Constitution, protect and defend, right? Foreign enemies, with all enemies, foreign and domestic, blah, 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 blah. They want to pick and choose what the Constitution means to them. It's kind of like the Holy Bible or the Bible. people like to pick and choose what they like about the Bible, right? But they still eat shellfish and catfish when the Bible says don't eat that type of animal or whatever, right? And so people get to pick and choose what they like about the Constitution. They don't like Muslims, but they want their freedom of religion, or whatever the hell it is. It's just certain people, they want to pick and choose what they like for themselves.
Right. But what is it
for everybody else?
What does that have to do with this special forces guy getting arrested?
Because he was picking and choosing what he wanted, not what the American people want.
No, Brandon. Okay, he was a guy who fought to protect the country and defend, the Constitution, right? Took a vow to the Constitution and did, like you said with your friend, like he did his his duty. He was stepped up when he was called on, and he made shit happen. And now these pieces of shit in the fucking media and our government are acting like he's a fucking domestic terrorist because he punched a cop,
Okay, well, look, again, number one, he's a grown-ass man. He knew better than to punch a cop.
You know what?
And where they're crossing the police line, obviously. Now, if he was walking down the street and a cop punched him, I get it. But let's be honest, that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So he fed into it. So now the excuse, what you're trying to say is, well, he served his country, he was a good man. Well, you know what? There's a lot of priests, Mom, that did a lot of prayers and a lot of good for marriages and everything else in their community. But what gives them the right or the excuse or a pass to molest one boy? None.
The priests, the preachers, they live pretty high. They make their money off of, selling this Bible bullshit and building a cult. Okay. That person, the special forces guy gives his fucking life to go and defend his country. The preacher is going to be a cult because he knows he can get a flock and that flock will give him money. Okay? That's the way I see religion.
So why don't we find out why the guy was so mad? But before we even and I'll start looking into this. Now I'm going to pay attention to this little case.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why he was so mad. Was he just mad because the guy he voted for didn't win? That don't justify punching nobody.
Well, what if he believes that the guy they say won could not have won? Because he's a fucking douche.
Listen. Don't worry about the guy. Worry about the policies that the guy was saying. Okay? But let's be honest. Nobody voted for Joe Biden, for his family, for Joe Biden. They voted for the policies, and they wanted to get away from the policies of Trump. That's all it was.
Well,
we know that we got a president who can barely speak. We got it. And that's fine. I don't want a fucking president to speak. When I have one, he wants to shut the fuck up for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's why. So when people just say, "Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe it," maybe everybody don't want to hear it. All Mexicans are racist. You know what I'm saying? Or either that. Well, these people or whatever, or maybe people just want to get up and go to work and come home and watch their sitcom and eat their dinner and play with their kids and go to fucking bed and do the same thing the next day.
Right. That's what I'm talking about, Brandon, is that's what most people want, okay? And here's this person who gave his life 20 years, 24 years being in fucking shitholes defending this country because at least that's what he was told he was doing,
But why? But he's a grown man.
Uh-huh.
Why is someone on TV telling him what to do? That's stupid. That's like these little young ass rappers out here killing each other.
Well, it's not standing up against the fucking over-intrusive police state government. I'm sorry, comply or die police state government is not like some punk ass going around shooting up somebody's neighborhood.
but it's all for stupidity. I mean, look, man. If you're unsuccessful, you don't blame government for it. Blame the fucking self.
If you're doing what you believe is the right thing, okay, and look, this guy, again, he stepped up to fight for the country. He went to the shittiest places on earth to do it, okay? And then he saw what he believed was the country being stolen by evil people. So he did what he took a vow to do and stepped up to protect the country. Okay, I don't think it's that hard to understand. I get what you're saying, but maybe when there's a protest at the people's house, that the people protesting should be allowed to enter that house, just like we've seen in state capitals back and forth across the country when protesters go into the state capitol and take over that building. You've seen that happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the protesters in the People's House in Washington, D.C. should be able to do the same thing. And every time those damn fucking cops got the fuck out of the way, people were shaking their hands and patting them on the back. Okay?
So how about this? Why don't we just look at this situation like this guy was in a bar fight, he got drunk, or either it was a domestic dispute, a cop shows up, and this guy punches the cop in the face. You see what I'm saying? So
no, I don't. I don't see what you're saying. It's not a bar fight. It's not a domestic thing.
I know, but what you're saying is, Mox, you're trying to say, well, he gets a pass because he fought for a country. All I'm saying is, let's just say he wasn't at the Capitol building, and it was a situation where he was in the wrong, meaning the cop showed up for a reason, and he punched the cop. Because obviously he crossed a barrier, and he punched the cop. Or a cop tried to stop him, and he punched the cop. So just look at it like that. I ain't saying that he's a trade, about his service. I'm not knocking that, man. I'm just saying, just look at it like that. He punched law enforcement. So whatever he got to deal with, there you go.
Okay, well, what if law enforcement punched him first?
Well, if he was walking down the street and got punched, but if he's in a big crowd and they're going forward and the cops are trying to stop the crowd going forward and he got punched, he's part of the crowd.
Right, but he didn't punch. He didn't punch the cop. I mean, he got punched. Look, I get where you're coming from, Brandon. I've seen the veterans. I've seen the veterans vilified again and again. First, it's like, oh, these people are defending our country. Yeah. They're the best of the best, And then it's this shit about, oh, now he's a fucking domestic terrorist. I can't take it, dude.
Yeah. We're so dangerous. Like, it's so funny when they talk about the veterans, because I had people in church, right? Like, come up and like, come in my, they'll come over, stop by, and they'll be like, and these people like in their 50s, and they're like, well, hey, we're thinking about buying a gun. I'm like, okay. And like, they're like, well, what do you think about the AR-15? And I just bust out laughing. if why, number one, why? Think about why you want to purchase a gun. Right. What type, for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple guns, but just think about it, and I'll go to the gun store with you, and I'll tell you what's good, what not, and go gun range and shoot. It's not an issue. I help you out and make you feel comfortable and tell you. But it's so funny because, everyone will be like, well, hey, are you going to, like, here? They had a big protest in St. Louis over who the Catholic saint or whatever priest that St. Louis is named after, right? And so, again, it's a cancel culture protest. So my neighbor was like, hey, are you going? I'm like, whoa. Well, I forget his fucking name, Bill. I'm like, no, Bob. I'm like, no, man. I'm like, why would you go down there? I'm like, dude, that statue don't pay your fucking bill. It's irrelevant. I'm like, but that's how people are so wired, to go protest and to go defend shit that has nothing to do with their everyday fucking lives. And so what I'm getting at is I believe that veteran got caught up in this.
Yeah,
His life is pretty good, man.
Right,
know,
but
it's like,
our elections are part of everyone's lives, so regardless if you vote or not, so, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. You
I-
know, so,
I gotta take a break,
Yeah.
Brandon.
all right, man. Well, hey, boss, you take care, okay?
Hey, I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, man.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Okay, so I'm gonna play a quick video about this veteran special forces guy, 20 years special forces, multiple tours in theater, and now he's considered a domestic terrorist because he protested at the Capitol on January 6th. You know, I'm so tired of this. I've seen these veterans who, you know, oh, these are the best of the best. You know, the president goes and he's like, oh, we can't tell you how much we appreciate your service and how, you know, how you guys are the ones, the front lines defending our country. Right? And then, oh, look at these evil people. I remember under Obama, you know, the terrorist war, the terrorists. People are coming back from the wars and they're you know, they're not right, and you know, we have to worry about, and it was like this, you know, oh, veterans are dangerous. We have to, and I hate that. You know, 1 minute, oh, they're the best of the best, they're our saviors, and then all of a sudden they're evil. They fucking murdered Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt was a 17-year veteran. Okay? We still don't know who murdered Ashley Babbitt. I want to know who fucking murdered Ashley Babbitt. And I think the people who stood up, who took over the People's House on January 6th, I think those people are very brave. I think that's the way this country was meant to be, was that we protest our government. And if we don't like our government, we will fucking grab them by the shirt collars and throw them the fuck out on the streets. That's what you call an open government. And when your government, your so-called representative government, doesn't represent you in any way, maybe it's time to grab them by the fucking shirt collars and throw them out on the fucking street. And the people who do, we should all be proud of, at least in my opinion. Here you go. Special Forces, 20-year veteran, now considered a domestic terrorist and an insurrectionist.
Ben & Jerry's ice cream says it will stop selling its ice cream.
We're getting a new and very disturbing look at the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The Justice Department releasing video of a former Special Forces soldier assaulting police. Our Brian Todd has details. Brian, tell us more about these disturbing videos.
Right, Jim. Just a short time ago, we got these 4 new video clips from the Justice Department. Unsettling, partly because a female police officer is seen being viciously attacked. We have to warn viewers, some may find the images in this story disturbing. Just a few seconds into this video, after one rioter swings an American flag pole violently at a police officer and another rioter throws a flag at police, a female officer is assaulted hand to hand. Her grimaces of pain clearly audible. 4 new video clips of the assault on the Capitol on January 6th released today by the Justice Department. The man that officials say is assaulting police in all of them, Jeffrey McKellop, a retired U.S. Special Forces officer. He's wearing a helmet, gas mask, a Kevlar vest with a patch that looks like the flag of the country of Georgia. Here, prosecutors say, McKellop lunges at an officer, is pepper sprayed, and melts into the crowd. In this video, the female officer who officials say McKellop attacked is seen grabbing her face in pain, being helped by other officers. In this clip, watch the officer in white. Officials say this is McKellop hitting a D.C. police captain in the head with a flagpole, then throwing the pole at him. Prosecutors say the captain was cut near his left eye. These battles took place in the inauguration staging area outside the Capitol, the scene of some of the most violent combat that day, and where the police line eventually collapsed. McKillop, the man who officials say attacked the officers so viciously, served in the Army for 23 years, spending time in the Special Forces, and was deployed twice to Afghanistan, twice to Iraq, according to the Pentagon.
Federal judges have ordered Jeffrey McKillop to stay in jail while his court case progresses. He is charged with 12 federal crimes, including felonies for attacking police. McKillop has pleaded not guilty. Jim.
Very disturbing video. All right, Brian Todd, thank you so much for that report.
Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fine.
Good. You have a good weekend?
Got to go to the lake with the dogs. I like that.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Was it a wooded area, the lake that you went to?
We go down to Magnuson Park on Lake Washington, and there's like a bunch of picnic areas and stuff like that. There's some trees, but they're not a whole lot. I think I have video of it here.
Yeah. Did you see people picnicking and playing frisbee?
That's Magnuson Park right there. If anybody's wondering, that's Magnuson Park on the video there.
Cool. Let me look.
Yeah. Frisbee. I don't know. I didn't notice. We saw some people playing. There's like some covered picnic table areas. We saw some people there that were having like a big party, and they had some different games out that they were playing.
Good. Sounds like a summer day, like that Seurat painting, a Sunday in the After Park,
Yeah.
Just people, kind of lounging in big green spaces. It sounds lovely. And it's something that COVID-19 and the paranoia and fear associated with COVID-19 took away from us for an entire year. And I think there's going to be some long-term repercussions psychologically for like kids and families for not being able to spend that time last year just relaxing, meeting their neighbors, playing frisbee in the park, whatever. Their cost that I don't think will ever be measured. Just something that happened, but it did affect people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we haven't even begun to understand the long-term effects of these fucking bullshit quarantines, and not just that, the wearing of the mask. It's not, there's so much psychological shit that people don't even begin to get that's going on there. And I think it could turn out very badly.
They lied about so many parts of the COVID-19, the narrative, like how many people were infected, that was one, like why are cases being exaggerated from this PCR test, inflated deaths, anybody who dies if they have COVID, whether they fall off of a building or get hit by a truck, it becomes a COVID death, and even like vaccinations, like they said like this was like a magic bullet, right? Well, they keep, shifting this number around, 75%, 95% effective, but if there's new variants, you're going to have to get a booster shot forever. So even the vaccine that they advertised as being a cure to this issue isn't a cure to this issue. And that being the case, like, I don't understand. I'm not vaccinated, Mike, and I'm not vaccinated because I haven't been in a situation where I've been pressured to be vaccinated. I haven't really had to lose anything. I'm basically self-employed, so I don't have to worry about somebody telling me what to do. The only way I think that would change is if I wanted to get on an airplane and go someplace, or if I wanted to go to another country, maybe I would have to get vaccinated. But I think that the government is going to put more and more and more restrictions. So, for example, maybe you won't be able to get food assistance, like SNAP program, unless you agree to be vaccinated, or you won't be able to get veterans assistance, unless you're vaccinated. So they can start to put pressure on people that way. And just like the language of the Governor Inslee, just his rhetoric, what a despicable, fucking weaselly worm that fucker is.
Yeah, he's horrible, dude. I can't believe how bad he is.
It's like a corporation stands up and says something, and he's like standing right behind him saying, that's right. That's absolutely right. Go buy your Moderna Pfizer vaccine now. Do it right now. You know, it's just a corporate fucking tool. He was a corporate tool when he was a congressman. He's a corporate tool when he was running for president as the governor. He's a corporate tool today. He's a fucking schmuck. And his rhetoric belies him. Just, you know, kind of tells you who the guy is. Just listen to him talk. Trying to scare people. And let's be real. All these people supposedly got COVID-19, from what I understand. So therefore, don't they have immunity from COVID-19 for a couple of years, right? That's how illness has worked, like forever, since time begun. Like once you get the disease, you develop some immunity from it. So just let people have the option. Candidly, if you want a vaccine and you have bought into the fear, you want to support the pharmaceutical industry and you trust, you know, these technocrats, that's fine. It's your prerogative. But just leave me the fuck alone. I don't believe your narrative. Why are you forcing me to ascribe to your way of thinking, you know? That's the problem here. And that, I don't see that going away, Mike. Really, I don't. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna be like, oh, you gotta get your booster shot for fucking ever. You know, and I'm not getting shots for fucking ever. Not gonna happen.
Hey, Mike, it's been 4 months. Yeah, oh, what did I hear? Okay, so I have a radio in my vehicle now, so I occasionally listen to the radio. And I heard on public radio that, was it the state of Washington? I don't know. It had to do with this vaccine program where they were strongly, you know, where basically, there was an ad campaign. The state of Washington is paying for an advertising campaign, hiring doctors and medical professionals, and encouraging doctors all over the state to call all of their patients who are not vaccinated and give them a spiel over the phone about why they should get vaccinated, why vaccines are good. You know, and this is directed from the state.
And by the way, doctors don't do shit for free. So somebody's paying them to call people on the phone, and doctors get paid a lot of money, by the way. So you know what I'm saying? That
doctor's office is going to do a lot of billing if they're calling everybody on their list, all their patients, of course.
Yeah.
And you know, and they'll get federal funding and state funding, and it'll all be subsidized, you know, to promote.
Okay, there's my dog in this screen right here at the bottom on the right. There's my dog, and that's me on the right there. To the truck, and then I believe that Sam flying the drone. Yeah, Craig isn't flying. He's so if anybody was wondering, that was my dog.
There were like 2 or 3 stories, Mike, that weren't related to the plague that I wanted to share. First of all, there's a fire in California right now that has grown to 60,000 acres, and it's only 15% contained. And this is from like a television station in California, KCRA-NBC, and it's basically 15% contained. It's very close to where the fire was in 2018, the Camp Fire that killed 80 people, and more than 800 structures in towns in Northern California remain threatened as of Tuesday. 2 structures have been destroyed. The reason why I bring this to your attention, because I mean there are forest fires throughout the western United States right now, is that this forest fire appears to have been started by Pacific Gas and Electric. Okay, and this is the quote from the article. It says, Pacific Gas and Electric reported to California utility regulators that its equipment may have been involved at the start of the Dixie Fire. The utility said in a filing on Sunday that a repair person responding to a circuit outage on July 13th spotted blown fuses in a conductor atop a pole, a tree leaning into the conductor, and fire at the base of the tree. The electric company PG&E equipment has been linked to major wildfires, including a 2018 fire that ravaged the town of Paradise and killed 85 people, very close to where this fire is. by the way. So I said to myself, wait a minute. I thought that this company doesn't even exist anymore, right? So I did a Google search, and I said, why is Pacific Gas and Electric still in business, right? And this is what Google said. It said, the LA Times said, Pacific Gas and Electric filed for bankruptcy protection in January 2019 to shield itself from tens of billions of dollars in potential fire liabilities. Although the company has restructured its debt and agreed to pay $25 billion in fire-related claims, it still faces huge risk. All right, so this company literally declared bankruptcy a year, 2 years ago, because its electric lines started the largest wildfire ever in California history, which killed 80 people when their entire town was burned out, right? So they declared bankruptcy to avoid any litigation, any lawsuits. Now they're in business, under new structure or whatever, and the exact same fucking thing happens, right? 60,000 acres are burning. How much are 60,000 acres of forest actually worth? There's a monetary value for the timber, but there's also like animals and all kinds of shit that are in the woods, right? That are affected by these huge forest fires. So I'm just saying, why is this electric company allowed to stay in business? And why aren't the people in California, why doesn't the state of California, why don't they fucking monitor their own electric system? Why can't the state of California provide electricity to these towns in Northern California and make sure that the equipment is updated so that they don't burn the forest down, right?
Or be held accountable if they do, because if you're held accountable, then it's less likely that you'll do it again. This is a big part of the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem with cops that fucking hurt people. They're not held accountable. If they were, the chances that they would go out and do the same thing again is highly unlikely.
Yeah, and in this case, they did. They did exactly the same thing, and the same exact consequences, ensued because of their bad behavior. So, it's just a telltale to me that these private corporations can literally lie and say they're going to spend money to upgrade their equipment and still not do what they say they're going to do or cause problems. It seems like corporate culture is about cutting corners and trying to save money and cut corners, right? And that means you're not going to look out for safety, or you're not going to look out for proper investment to make sure that it isn't going to start a forest fire. The second story, Mike, was from Democracy Now, and it was from yesterday. And there's another link to it, but this is the story. It says, the state of Illinois bans police from lying to minors during interrogations. Have you heard about this, Mike?
No.
Okay. Well, Illinois became the first state in the United States to ban law enforcement from lying and using other deceptive methods when interrogating minors. The ban goes into effect in January and will prohibit law enforcement agents from falsely promising leniency or claiming to have incriminating evidence when they don't. These methods are still largely allowed in the United States, often leading to false confessions with minors and people with intellectual disabilities in particular. And that kind of caught my attention. And I went to the innocentproject.org, which is one of the people who lobbied for this legislation. And it turns out that over 100 people in the last 10 years have been falsely convicted for false confessions that police. So police get them in the room before they go to jail. They talk to them and they're like, "Yeah, you're in some real bad trouble, right? Well, we've actually got the drugs." And then the cop takes the drugs and holds them up in his hand, and some guy says, "See, look, there's drugs." And the kid's like, "Those aren't my drugs." He's like, "Well, we got the drugs. So you better just fucking start talking right now." And that's called a forced, coercive confession, where it isn't the kid's drugs. They're completely lying about the situation, and they're just trying to create this, this atmosphere of fear to scare the kid into saying he did something he didn't do.
Yeah.
All right.
No, this is one of the big things about cops. Besides the fact that they're violent and they go out with the purpose to hurt people with zero conscience about doing it. The other thing about them is they're professional fucking liars. half of what they say, half of what they document is a lie. This is why every single one of them must wear a camera, and it must be on every minute that they're wearing a fucking uniform. No shutting it off because you're taking a piss. I don't give a fuck. You don't like that? Get a fucking different job.
If soldiers are considered U.S. government property, I think cops should be considered almost property of the city. Whenever they're on the job, they're city property, and they need to respect the people who live in that community. End of story. This article says in Illinois alone, there have been 100 wrongful convictions based on false confessions, including 31 false confessions involving people under 18 years of age. Lauren Casper, the legal director for the Illinois Innocence Project based at University of Illinois Springfield, said, "Today we have taken a critical step in changing the trajectory of false confessions and the subsequent wrongful convictions that we have seen as a result of deceptive interrogation tactics. Our state has been known for too long as the false confession capital of the country, and we are proud to see Illinois take a leading role in reforming outdated practice. The law will encourage law enforcement members to adopt alternative interrogation techniques commonly used in countries like the United Kingdom, where deceptive tactics have long been abandoned. These alternative methods have proven more effective in producing reliable confessions, yet the vast majority of police agencies in the United States currently employ psychologically coercive, yet legally permissible deceptive techniques that this law now prohibits with respect to the interrogation of juveniles in Illinois." Now, again, this is just for kids under 18. So adults in Illinois and all across the United States are still going to be exposed to these deceptive tactics that police use. And this law that they passed, like, it's the first one in the United States, right? So basically every other large municipal, police department around the country, all these cities around the United States, they are using the police departments are using coercive tactics with juveniles, making forced confessions, without evidence and using deceptive tactics. And for people to say this is the greatest country in the world, what do we do in this country? We take our kids and we don't even process them fairly without manipulating them, lying to them, and trying to scare them into saying they did something they didn't even do. And that's permissible in every single state in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, again, cops are professional liars. I've said this dozens of times, if not hundreds of times. Cops are professional liars. That's who they are. And if you've had any experiences with cops, you probably already know this. I'm probably not telling you anything.
Oh, I'm sure that a lot of us have not had, really close-up interactions. I know Patrick in chat shared, an interaction that he had for smoking cannabis in his car that sounded kind of traumatic, having the police point a gun at his head, just for, smoking a joint. I had similar experience with the police. The only person who's ever pointed a gun at my head in my 54 years of life, Mox, has been a police officer. That's the only time, I felt like somebody could have made a mistake, he could have twitched or he could have slipped or something the wrong way, and with the gun cocked pointed at me, he could have shot me. That's how I felt about it. I felt like this is really unnecessary and scary. So I've been a critic of the police, most of my adult life. I think most people who smoke cannabis are that way, Mike, because they recognize the unjustness of the law, right? The last story I want to share with you is from Marijuana Moment. It's also from the state of Illinois. And the state of Illinois is going to use $31 million, but $3.5 million right now in revenue to prevent violence. So their program has been so successful, Mike, with their legalization of marijuana rollout, that Illinois is likely to see more than $1 billion in adult-use marijuana sales in 2021. And that means more tax dollars. Last year, Illinois sold $670 million in cannabis and took in $205 million in tax revenue. They began taking in more tax dollars from marijuana than alcohol earlier this year. The State Department of Revenue reported in May from January to March, Illinois generated about $86 million in adult use marijuana tax revenue compared to $72 million from liquor sales. June was the fourth month in a row that recreational marijuana sales exceeded $100 million, according to the Department of Financial Regulation. Last month saw slightly higher monetary, some $116 million worth of cannabis sales in Illinois. And the way they set their law up, Mike, is 1/4 of all tax revenue is supposed to go to communities that are either poor communities because of the drug war or communities with high rates of crime, and high rates of violence because of the drug trade created from the drug war. So they're going to give $3.5 million to organizations that are going to do things like promote after-school sports, right? Promote safe places and positive kind of, community building in their community. And they're going to give the money to local groups that are doing these things in their community as a funding source through the state, which I think, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I would rather see money go to nonprofits that are for real, not stealing and shit, but are real organizations helping people and addressing, like, how are we going to build a community here instead of just throwing all of our kids in jail.
And, the price of alcohol, like 75% of it is taxes. And I bet they don't do anything like that with alcohol, where they benefit people in the community, And it's not just that. All taxes that come from tobacco and alcohol, all device taxes, those should just go directly straight into the community, like you're talking about these different programs for people, sports for kids after school and shit.
I guess in the case of smoking, or, as I roll a cigarette, you're making me feel guilty, Mike. But I think that the revenue should go maybe like to the healthcare system, right? So, like, if they're going to have really high taxes on tobacco, I kind of think I should be able to grow my own tobacco anyway. Although I live in a cold place, it's hard to do here. That being the case, I don't see a problem with the tax, but the tax should be used, not just go into the general fund, but should be used for, like, something specific, like whatever, healthcare cost or something related to cigarette smoking. Something like that. I don't think that's crazy. But those were the two or three. Oh, yeah, The Onion, though, did have the magazine, The Onion, did have a take on Illinois banning police from lying to minors during interrogation. And it's like 3 fake people, right? Hunter Kenny, a police officer, says, but it's cool if we lie to judges and juries, right?
Which they do. This is why I say they're professional liars, because that's what they do. They swear an oath to tell the truth on their fucking holy fucking document before God. They swear to tell the truth, and then they lie and lie and lie. And if you don't know it, it's not because you're not paying attention. It's because you don't want to know it. Okay?
Well,
that's the only reason.
The only people they don't lie to, Mike, are other cops.
I seriously doubt that. I grew up with cops, and I guarantee you they lie to each other for sure.
Yeah, well, it sounds like organized crime, man, if you ask me. So those were the stories.
It's not so much organized crime as a violent gang, which resembles organized crime. Yeah.
Many organized crimes are violent gangs.
Yeah,
but
most violent gangs are organized crime. I agree.
But so those were the 3 stories. The California electric company that just keeps starting fires. The fact that in Illinois they're going to ban cops from lying to kids, finally, and also in Illinois they're using revenue from marijuana, which seems to be, they're generating revenue. People are accepting it. And the revenue is starting to be redistributed to get, to try and address violent crime in their communities. And I guess the only other thing I would just say is I did watch a couple of good films the last 2 days. I watched Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie?
Yes, I love that movie. I've watched it many times.
Yeah, me as well. And I watch it a couple times every few years, And then I watched the documentary about making Heart of Darkness, made by his
Oh,
wife.
good. I was
called
talking about that a
Harper.
month ago.
Yeah, Eleanor Coppola. And it just kind of shows her husband and all the stress and the whole stress of the production. Like they were making this movie in a country with using a dictator's helicopters, a typhoon comes there. You know, the lead actor wants like $1 million up front.
Yeah,
the
typhoons came in and destroyed all their sets, all their movie sets. They had to redo everything. You know, it's a crazy business, especially, and they don't make films like that anymore. You know, there's never going to be a film like that made ever again. So
that was amazing cast.
Yeah.
And also, it was amazing cinematography, like the photo photography of it itself, the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, the writing. The writing was very good, and the acting. All of it was all around.
Yeah.
It was a decent film. And then I watched another movie, Mike, called Heart of Darkness, which is the novel that Apocalypse Now is based on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the story of an ivory trader
Yeah.
who goes up the Congo River to meet the person in charge of the trading station who is trading the ivory. And he's a person like Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now who's gone crazy. And the film version that I watched had John Malkovich played Colonel Kurtz or Mr. Kurtz, and Tim Roth played the captain going up the river. It's from 1992, and it was a pretty good film. You know, I mean, it wasn't excellent. I think the book itself is better, but it was a good idea, like to get a sense of like the Western European mind and what actually was going on, like, you know, the brutality of what was going on, like with the ivory trade and with the slave trade and so on and so forth, that a lot of people just wanted to ignore. You know, and the evil and, you know, the sickness associated with it. It's just a very good movie. I recommend all three of those movies to people, especially people interested in war and imperialism. All right, Mike. That was long-winded. I'm sorry. Thanks for your time.
Oh, okay, Chris. It's always good to hear from you. You're a wellspring of information. So I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah. I look forward to talking with you as well. Have a good night, Mike.
Okay, see you. And I am getting down to our last video or videos here. I think I'm just going to play one more. I'm going to play the video about Ben and Jerry's stopping selling ice cream, their ice cream in Israeli-occupied Palestine. So I'll play that for you now. If you want to call, this is going to be your last chance to do it. So I'll be back momentarily, and we'll see if anybody wants to call before we call it a night. All right? Hold on. Here's that video. Ben and Jerry's stopped selling their ice cream in Israeli-occupied Palestine.
Ben & Jerry's ice cream says it will stop selling its ice cream in Israeli-occupied territories. Now, the company, known for its social activism, said such sales were, quote, inconsistent with our values, end quote. Israeli politicians have blasted the decision. Joining me now is Phyllis Bennis. She's the fellow and director of the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies. Phyllis, welcome back to the show. Now, Ben & Jerry's is one of the original activist brands. So why are they making this decision now?
I think there's two things going on here. The most important is that public opinion across the United States, in public discussions in the Black community, in the Jewish community, among young people, among Democrats, across the board, opinions are shifting dramatically and quickly. We saw it most astonishingly in the 2-month period around April and May, when we had a series of crises in Jerusalem involving Israeli evictions of Palestinians from their communities in occupied East Jerusalem, the attack on the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and most importantly, the 11-day assault on the Gaza Strip. And people saw that. And they saw it in a way that is a little bit different than I think people have seen Israeli attacks on Gaza before. And that is because of the Black Lives Matter protests of last year. It changed how many people, not everybody, of course, but many people are seeing Palestinians now in the context of anti-racist movements. The fact that the Black Lives Matter movement itself embraced the Palestinian cause made a lot of people across this country think about it differently. And that's a big part of the decision-making, I think, among the Ben & Jerry's community. The other part is what you mentioned, that these are long-standing social activists who have not only supported Black Lives Matter, they've supported moves to move police funding out of police departments and into other social services in our communities. They've taken up the cause of fighting against white supremacy. This is not a new issue. This is not a new reality for the leadership of Ben & Jerry's as a corporation to take these strong positions of principle. So I think it's a matter of catching up with their long-standing values.
But what is the difference between doing business in the settlements, which are in Palestinian territories, versus, say, selling the ice cream in Tel Aviv, which is Israel proper?
Well, for some of us, myself included, international law is becoming more clearly apparent in terms of how it's being violated. And if you look at the report, for example, of the Israeli human rights organization B'Tselem, which issued an important new report just about 2 months ago, they said that what they are assessing is that Israeli policy is the policy of apartheid from the river to the sea, and that it's based on establishing and maintaining Jewish supremacy, so that Jews like me can go to Israel, become a citizen overnight, have the right to enter Israel under any circumstances, whereas Palestinians who were expelled from their homes in the context of the creation of the State of Israel back in 1947 and 48, 750,000 Palestinians were expelled from their homes. They've never been allowed to return. That kind of discrepancy, that kind of discrimination in the interest of establishing the hegemony of one racial or religious or national group over another is the international legal definition of apartheid. So many of us believe that there isn't much difference between selling ice cream in a settlement in the West Bank and selling ice cream in Tel Aviv, that both are being sold in a country under the conditions of a government which has a policy of apartheid in all of the areas it controls, what you called Israel proper, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and occupied East Jerusalem. That's not clear whether that will be the position of Ben & Jerry's. The international call for a boycott campaign designed to bring nonviolent economic pressure on Israel to stop its violations of international law is very clear that there are various versions of what it means to boycott Israel or to call for divestment from Israeli companies. So for some, it means anywhere in Israel. For others, it means a narrower definition of only the occupied territories. It may be that
and
first,
and that's what Phyllis wanted to. That's what I want to clarify for that Ben & Jerry's is making the distinction that the settlements are illegal and not selling its product there. In the last 30 seconds that we have together, I'd like your reaction to what Israel as a government has said. They've warned Ben & Jerry's parent company, Unilever, of severe consequences if anybody moves, quote, aggressively against targeting civilians through boycotts. So what is, again, 30 seconds, what's the calculus that they're playing with?
The State of Israel views this nonviolent tactic, which is protected by our Constitution and has historically been used by everything from the Civil Rights Movement to the great boycotts of the Latino Farm Workers Union in this country and all around the world. They view that as a strategic threat equivalent to the threat they claim comes from another country like Iran. It's not based on any rational decision. It's based on a political view that what this boycott does is expose the reality of Israeli violations of international law that are inherent in Israeli law. That's why we have a boycott.
Phyllis, thank you so much for clarifying all of this for us, and we appreciate having you on this show.
Thanks very much.
All right. So as I said at the beginning of the show, you know how you say Ben and Jerry's should stop selling ice cream in Israel. That's all there is to it. They should stop selling ice cream in Israel because you know how they say if you're good, we'll stop on the way home and get ice cream. Okay? Israel does not deserve ice cream. Israel is not good. Israel is acting out in a very bad way. And if Ben and Jerry's really cared, they'd stop selling ice cream in Israel altogether. Maybe this is just the first step. Hello, caller.
Hello. Hi. Oh my God, goodness. This is Jerry from Ben and Jerry's. Oh, I'm in a really weird situation with Ben. Ben's kind of freaking out, and he's like trying to take over the world and shit. He's over there, and I just seen you guys had this thing.
I told him LSD ice cream is a bad idea. I told him.
It's a terrible idea. Ben is over there freaking out. And I just looked up online and I seen your guys' live show currently, and this is Ben from Ben and Jerry. This is Jerry from Ben and Jerry's.
Just pick a fucking dog.
Damn it. I tell you what, these people in the world, they're making ice cream evil. They're making ice cream like kind of evil and not equal, you know? And you're supposed to share ice cream with other people.
You're supposed to share everything. You're supposed to share everything.
Ben is over there trying to take ice cream away from ice cream lovers.
Oh, fuck those
that's
people.
Not what our corporation is about.
The corporation is about making money.
Is about
making money.
And maybe, you know, contributing to a little bit of the obesity and the poor people too, because
poor people don't eat Ben and Jerry's.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
That are addicted.
No, poor people don't eat Ben and Jerry's. It costs too much.
Do.
No, I'm a poor person. I know. I don't eat Ben and Jerry's. Neither do other poor people. They can't afford it. It costs too much. Jerry.
Sir, this is Jerry, and I'm just trying to tell you that there's people literally laying on the streets with, you know, quarts of ice cream laying around them, and I can't say what they're doing in their britches, but they're definitely doing something. They're having a brain freeze / cholesterol / high blood sugar coma apparatus after eating 42 fucking goddamn quarts of fucking, you know, Willie Nelson's fucking greatest goddamn weed fucking ice cream. I don't know what they're selling out there anymore.
Weed ice cream is a very good idea. LSD ice cream, not so much.
It sounds really good currently, because I'm freaking the fuck out.
All right, Jerry, we got to go.
It's Jerry, not Barry, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, okay.
Are you fucking serious? This is a serious event. This is Jerry calling from fucking Ben.
I gotta go. I gotta
Jerry's. You gotta go.
I gotta go.
You're going.
Bye.
Oh my fucking God.
He hung up. All right, so I'm going to give you one more chance to call. If anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. I got a 2-minute video. Now's your chance. Otherwise, we're going to call it a night because I have stuff to do. I got to clean up. I got to clean the kitchen before Craig gets home. All right, here we go. One more video. Which one is it? Which one will it be? Which one will it be?
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am? You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
I love that video, and I will do my best. I'm getting ready to make some cannabis reviews. Right, I want to review a couple of strains of cannabis, and then I'm gonna have. My garden's going to get harvested in the next month or so, and I'm going to want to do some reviews of that. But I'm thinking about ending all of my cannabis reviews with that ad. You know, sometimes you need cannabis. I think I'll end them all with that because I love that video. And they don't seem to have a problem with me using it, so that's a big part of why I will be using it most likely. And plus they say it's a real company and such. I'm not worried about it because it's a delivery thing. I don't think they're ever going to have a cannabis delivery service in the United States, at least not for another generation. So I don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, we're still advertising for them. If it is a real company, which I hope it is, because I love the idea of getting your monthly sample package. Try to get your monthly sampler. Oh, you get a half ounce of this and a half ounce of this, and you get a gram of this oil and a gram of this oil. And every month we'll send you new stuff. And if you find something that you like, you just let us know and we'll put it on your checklist. Fucking brilliant, right? And the video is hilarious, and the girl laughing is so adorable. The girl laughing at the end, oh my God! If I could find a stoner girl like that to stand next to, I'd probably have a smile on my face 24 hours a day. I sure hope so. All right, boys and girls, that's all I have for you tonight. Actually, I have a couple videos left, but I'm not going to play them. So we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel. And until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.